has been about 3.5 years since I made a YouTube video for a YouTube channel. So hi, hello. My name is Kenny, and I'm starting off this new kind of YouTube chapter because people are going back to long form content. If you don't know, I make content over on Instagram and TikTok about travel and adventures and a little bit of books mixed in there as well. But I'm a yapper and I want more space to kind of like just chat basically. So I used to have a YouTube channel back in the day and it did pretty good, I would say. But we are starting a little bit fresh and no expectations. I just want to create and enjoy and show you what I get up to and talk about books and just have a lovely time. The vibes are always going to be cozy, the vibes are always going to be warm and friendly, and I'm just excited to create, really. So I've just jumped out of the shower, done my skincare, got dressed because I have a day off today, which is nice. Well, kinda. I've done a load of emailing this morning. I am a freelancer, so basically I work with brands and businesses. I go in and I build up their influencer and social media marketing campaigns, basically. So kind of the full end to end, but I've got a big project kicking off in October and I've got a project on right now, but they don't need me like full time. So I've got a little bit of free time over the next few weeks, which is really nice actually. It's really nice. It's been pretty kind of like intense this whole year, and this is kind of like the first time I've got off, apart from like holidays and things. So I'm very excited. You might have seen in the montage that this week I am dog sitting. I do not own a dog, but I like to say I share custody. So this is Stormy. I'm just going to pick him up. Goodness, look at you. Oh, that's you. He is a little Shih Tzu. So he is my family dog. We got him when he was a little puppy back in 2018. He was only 8 weeks old. He was so small. And then obviously lockdown happened and me and him just spent 24/7 together, pretty much just me and him. My parents still worked, my younger sister still went to school, so I was in lockdown writing my dissertation and it was just me and him against the world. And since then, you know, he comes and stays a lot, but my parents are on holiday this week, so I've got this little baby. So my hair is still a little bit wet from my shower, but I've done my skincare, and if I do say so myself, we are glowing right now. Welcome to my home as well. So 3 months ago I moved in with my boyfriend Zach into a very leafy little suburb, very close to nature, in kind of a cottagecore feel house, and honestly I absolutely love it. And I think that's why I want to start making YouTube videos again, because I've lived in the city centre for so long. Like when I say city centre, I mean like inner city, and obviously the homes there were tiny, they were very small, and I lived on top of myself, if that makes sense. So having a little bit more space to breathe and having more space to create content is an absolute treat. So if you have stumbled across this video, I'm not sure how, and you are still watching, then maybe consider subscribing. I'm planning to do these vlogs like once a week and just chat to you. So books, let's talk about books. The book I am currently reading has been on my TBR, I want to say for 6 years now, which is pretty insane. And that is Circe by Madeline Miller. This came out in 2019, I think, this edition. And it is now 2025 and I'm finally getting around to it. Song of Achilles, which is Madeline Miller's other book, is pretty much my favorite book of all time. So I'm not sure why it's taken me so long to get around to this. I think it is that kind of like nervousness. If I don't like this, then what? But luckily I'm really enjoying it. I've got less than 100 pages to go. So the goal is to finish this today, talk to you about it, and then we can pick my next read. So if you don't know, Circe is a retelling of the Greek kind of story, Greek myth of Circe, who is one of the daughters of the sun god Helios. And basically she gets exiled to an island, and it's her kind of living on that island, discovering her powers, figuring it all out. There's a lot of commentary on different gods, and she kind of touches on a lot of kind of like iconic Greek mythology stories. It's really good. I like that there is a clear plot, but it's not the clearest plot in the world. Do you know what I mean? There's no kind of like end goal. So it's very much a character study within this realm. And the reason I picked this up is because Zach and I are actually going to Greece in October, and I've never been to Greece in my life. I am so excited. We're doing like an all-inclusive resort holiday, okay? Don't judge me. We do a lot of adventures, so I'll definitely be vlogging all of the different cozy core things we get up to. This is very much a relaxing holiday. And again, if I'm still vlogging by then, you'll know. So yeah, the goal is to finish this today, kind of share my thoughts. And then last night I was reading my copy of Book Time magazine. This is basically just a magazine that they put in independent bookshops every 2 months, and it tells you all about new releases, things that are coming up. So I figured we could have a chat about what I found in here that I'm looking to read throughout autumn. But the goal of this channel is to talk about books, but also show you what I get up to, adventures, recommendations for travel. So today we're gonna stick around my local area, I think, with with the pooch. We're going to go get some lunch. We're going to have a walk around the park. Oh, that caught his attention. Blimey heck. So welcome to the vlog. I'm very excited to be here. I'm very excited to have you. And let's go. Okay, so here's a little pets at home haul, because I know that's what you all are dying to see. So first things first, I got him this little hot dog. He loves tiny, cheap, stuffed things. Like, that is his dream. And then I also got him this chew to have whilst we're in the park. It's a dental chew, so it'll do his teeth some good. He's got really good teeth. And then finally I got him this little hippo. Look, it's so sweet. Oh, that'll get his attention. There he is. Right, I'm going to take the labels off these and I'm going to give them to him. And that is hopefully going to give me the piece that I need to read Circe. Now, I love reading with the audiobook next to it, especially with books like Circe, because some of the names in there, I can't pronounce them in all honesty, and I'm just guessing. So when you have like someone who's really confidently saying them, I'm like, okay, that's a bit of me. But I do it a lot, actually. I read the audiobook and the physical book kind of in tandem. I just find it immerses me a lot more. My brain is very whizzy in the sense that I have a million and one things going on in here, and I sometimes really struggle to focus in when it comes to reading. So having the audiobook there keeps me on track. If my mind does wander slightly, I can like catch up quite quickly, if that makes sense. So I'm going to read Circe now for about 45 minutes in this lovely park. I'm in like the middle of nowhere, and I'm very excited. I am back home now and about to have my lunch. So Zach and I do meal preps every single week for lunches, because normally he's in his studio like 4 or 5 days a week and I'm in my office like at least 4 days a week. So this week he made this, which is like a Mediterranean chicken with loads of different spices and stuff. He made this the other week for his family, and it was delicious. And then this couscous with peppers and tomatoes and seasoning and raisins and a little tzatziki. So I'm going to have this now, and then I'm going to get to work. Okay, so it's actually quite a bit later now. It's almost 4 p.m. I had more work to do than I actually thought, but that's okay, that's good. My hair is finally starting to play ball. I was rewatching the clips from the start of this vlog, and I was like, oh my goodness me. This is not a good first impression for the hair, but it's getting there now. I just really need a haircut. I also completely forgot that later on I'm going for a dinner with Adobe. Now, like I said, I do content creation on Instagram and on TikTok. And that kind of caught the attention of Adobe. And I did a talk for them last year, like a panel talk at one of their events. But tonight I'm going for dinner with them, which is really exciting. So I'll be sure to bring you along. But before that, I want to talk to you about Book Time. So this is the magazine. This is the first time I've ever got it, to be honest with you. And like I said, it talks you through like the upcoming releases. So there's a few in here I want to talk to you about. The first one, of course, Catabasis. I am so excited for this release, as is kind of the rest of the bookish world. The marketing campaign for this has been insane. Like, it feels like that book is absolutely everywhere. And when it releases, I bet we see even more of it. But I've got my copy pre-ordered. I adored Babel. I really liked Yellowface. I have not actually finished the Poppy War trilogy yet, but the kind of run of Babel and Yellowface, I'm in. I'm excited for Catabasis. Another book in here that I'm really interested in is The Compound. It is by Aisling Rowell. I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. And here's just a little quick thing. It says, in this sinister debut novel, Lily takes part in a reality TV show along with 9 other women and 10 men. She's confined to a compound in the desert. Things soon turn nasty, but Lily is determined to win. And then Louise O'Neill, who is another author that I've read her work before and I really loved, put Lord of the Flies meets Love Island, dark, thrilling and delightfully twisted. That is so me. I am such a reality TV like fiend. I absolutely adore reality TV. Very excited for The Compound by Miss Aisling. And then my favorite thriller author of all time is Ruth Ware. Now, thriller is my genre. I absolutely love a thriller novel. I've read pretty much all of Ruth Ware's works. In fact, I read 5 of them in 1 week last year. And she has a new book coming out. Let me quickly find it. And it is like a sequel follow-up to The Woman in Cabin 10. Now, I don't know if you've read that, but if you haven't, please go and read it. It is so bloody brilliant. She says in this interview there's some like Easter eggs about that first book. The first book is actually being turned into a movie starring Keira Knightley, and I am so excited for it. It is honestly one of the best thrillers I've ever read. The Woman in Cabin 10, hang on, I've got it on my shelf. 1 second, I'm just here. Here it is, I've got it. The Woman in Cabin 10 is basically about a travel journalist called Lo, and she goes on a cruise ship and something happens. She sees something that she thinks is a crime, but the whole kind of cruise ship is covering it up in a way. You'll see, just read it. Now, I knew the movie was coming out about this a while ago, but the fact that she was bringing out a book, I thought, Ruth, my girl, is this a little bit of a cash grab because the movie's like really good? But she actually wrote this new book, which I don't know if I said it was right the first time. It's called The Woman in Suite 11. She actually wrote this before the movie was greenlit. So before they even started filming, this book was written and she was planning to release it. And this is a happy accident, apparently. So yeah, those are the 3 kind of releases that I'm definitely going to be reading this autumn. And yeah, get this magazine. I absolutely love it. And it was free as well. I'm just getting ready for my dinner with Adobe. Please don't judge what I've got on my face. This is just a sunscreen. It gives you a really nice glow and it looks kind of like a concealer or a foundation, but it rubs in. And I really wanted to pop in quickly and talk about Circe. Now, it's an interesting novel because it happens obviously over the course of absolute centuries, because it reflects basically how gods see the world, in the sense that they are immortal, they will not die. They see a century as like a snap of your fingers, and it only kind of pinpoints the highlights of her life. So there's like centuries that go by where nothing happens in her life, and then we sort of skip to like a new love, or you know, a new dalliance or a new battle or something like that. I also love the amount of kind of twists and turns that there are in this book. You really don't know where it's going to go next or what's going to happen. Obviously, I'm not going to spoil kind of the point I'm at now, but we're very, very close to the end, and like a really big event has just happened. So I'm excited to get home later, curl up under the sheets and learn about the rest of it and see what happens to Circe in the end, basically. But yes, I will take you along for this dinner. I'm very, very excited, a little bit nervous. I always get nervous with these kind of things. But I'm gonna go put a nice shirt on and make myself look a bit more presentable. I feel like every time I've come on camera for this vlog, I look crazier and crazier, but it is now the morning. I've just got out of the shower, just washed my hair and done my skincare. I cut my chin whilst I was shaving last night, and I've just put that on it to make sure it doesn't get infected. Okay, leave me be. Last night was so much fun. I rarely go to those kind of events, if I'm honest with you. I think because my work life, I do a lot of planning of those events and hosting those events. The glamour for them has pretty much gone for me nowadays, but that one I thought was really, really special. It was a very low pressure dinner. Basically, it was just a collection of creatives from my city sitting down with Adobe, having dinner, talking about our careers, talking about what we love, what we don't like, what we think could be improved. And it was just really nice and cathartic, and I had a really, really brilliant time. But what I'm really here to talk to you about is Circe, because I finished it this morning, let me tell you. This book, it is an interesting one. So first and foremost, I will say I preferred Song of Achilles. I preferred it much more. Now, let me tell you about my star rating first. I have an interesting star rating simply because it's my books, it's my reviews. I can be as nuanced as I want. And I'm going to give this 3.5 stars, but I have been known to give it a 3.75, a 3.6. I'm that kind of reviewer, but 3.5 stars for this. And I've actually written down my thoughts because I want them as like a clear stream of consciousness for you. So let me pick them up quickly. Okay, I've got them written on my laptop, but I have my positives and my negatives here. So let's start with the negatives so we can end on a positive note. The first issue that I had with this book was the pacing. I found the center portion to be really quite slow, really quite laborious, a little bit repetitive, and looking through other reviews now I've read it, I can see that other people thought the same as me, which is, it's nice. It's nice to know that I'm not going crazy about that. So basically the story of Circe is, she is the daughter of Helios, like I mentioned. She gets exiled to an island because she is kind of like into witchcraft, and she can use plants to make people turn into creatures and that kind of thing. But the majority of the book is set on an island where she is the only person there. She has animals, and obviously people come to visit her, but she's the only person there. So that isolation sometimes is a little bit boring. So yeah, she's on this island and lots of side characters come and see her. And I think that some of these side characters are very one-dimensional. It touches on lots of different points of Greek mythology and different Greek stories that are very famous. And I'll talk about that in a second. But I think introducing these characters for 20 pages and you're learning everything about them, they're a little bit, she doesn't have time to really get into the meat of it. It kind of makes sense as to why. However, I just felt like some of them, I was like, I don't care about you, and the emotion Circe is feeling right now does not reflect kind of the relationship that's been built up, if that makes sense. And also I've got written here the ending. I was a bit dissatisfied with the ending, and it's a similar problem as with the one-dimensional side characters. I will not spoil it for you, don't worry. But with the ending, I just don't think the actions she took for the people she did them for made sense. It didn't feel like the people who were at the end, the last sort of cast of characters she meets, it didn't feel rooted enough in her emotions, because again, it was like 30 pages of these people and she's making these huge life decisions for them based on how much she adores them and how much this and that. And I'm just thinking, do you like them that much? It doesn't feel like we've got to know them enough for us to be like, oh yeah, Circe really likes these people, because it is, the book is a character study, essentially. It is a character study on Circe and her life and her feelings and opinions, and yeah, just that ending just wasn't for me. But anyway, positives, because there are a hell of a lot of positives for this book. So let me consult my notes again. Obviously it's a fresh take on mythology. I feel like people think of Greek mythology as quite boring, but we had this wave from like 2010 to 2020 of retellings that were really entertaining and really engrossing, and this was definitely one of them. I don't know much about Greek mythology, but from what I learned about Circe through my kind of research alongside the book, is that she is a little bit of just a side character. She kind of pops up in a lot of different places within sort of Greek mythology, but she doesn't have like the meat on the bones of that character. And I think Madeline Miller really gives her that kind of like voice and that kind of characterization. As someone who doesn't know much about Greek mythology, I actually liked the fact that this book, you don't have to go in with a hell of a lot of knowledge, and it touches on lots and lots of stories, a lot of them familiar kind of stories. I won't spoil which ones. You kind of get a perception on gods and titans and all that kind of thing, and how they're seen, and also how lesser gods are perceived and how mortals perceive them, but also these classic stories where Circe kind of gets involved a little bit, and we see her opinion on them, and then we get to pull back and see her opinion on life and that kind of thing. I really like that. There is definitely also a feminist lens on this book that I really enjoyed. At first I thought she was representing gods in kind of a negative way, and I was like, okay, this is just Circe's opinion on gods. Later on, she does the same kind of thing for mortal men, so actually it's just her perception on men in general. And actually the way she talks about female gods has a different kind of spin and a different kind of perception to male gods, and how they behave is very different as well. So I found that really interesting. I really liked that kind of like look into it. We're not just getting how gods kind of exist with lesser gods and mortals, we're also getting how like women and men are perceived in this time. And finally, the way it's written is beautiful. Like, Madeline Miller has a way with words, and it is lyrical but not overly flowery and florid. I just thought some of the descriptions, especially of the island, it is like so ingrained in my head now. I thought it was absolutely beautiful. The way she writes about nature and magic and the sea is just absolutely wonderful. So that is pretty much all of my thoughts on Circe by Madeline Miller. Like I said at the beginning of this vlog, it has been a long time coming, me reading this book, and it didn't disappoint, but it also didn't absolutely blow my socks off. So if you did enjoy this video, please feel free to subscribe. This is the first reading vlog I've done, like I said, in 3.5 years, and I'm very excited to get back into it. I feel like I'm in a good spot in my life where vlogging is going to be so much fun, and I've got so much energy for it. So yes, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next time.